What is going on, guys? We got MLB The Show 22. Just talking about the patch that came out. I downloaded it April 13th. I'm not sure if that's when they officially put the patch out, but that's when I got it. Now, I'm going to show you something. I read all the patch notes, and as you can see, the patch, I've been playing these games on the exact date. So the patch came out on this day, okay? That's when I downloaded it later in the day. So I played this game first, and then I downloaded the patch. And ever since then, I have not lost a single game ever since that patch. I've won 10 games in a row for whatever reason. Before that, I wasn't really like doing that well. As you can see, I had a 3-game losing streak here, and right here I lost 3 out of 4, and I won the first 3, but then I went on now I won 10 in a row all of a sudden. Now, I notice it's way easier to get hits and get on base, but that is for both teams, even their team. Like, I can't really strike batters out like I used to. They get a lot of base runners, but we just end up winning all these games. You know, as you can see, this one, we swept the Dodgers, and then we swept the Padres, and then we swept, St. Louis. Now, these are all significantly good teams, especially look in my division. The Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals were number 2 until we swept them. Now they're number 3, and we're 10-0 in our last 10 games. So I mean, I don't know what it is about the patch that's making this game easier, but I know the pitching is very different. I read the patch notes, and they did some adjustments on the pitcher stamina. I was struggling with pitcher stamina. My pitchers were always exhausted. I had a couple games where almost all my pitchers were exhausted. I had to put like a different pitcher in pretty much every inning. After my starting pitcher came out after like 3 innings, he was tired. So my pitchers have been really struggling with their stamina. My players' stamina, I just figured it was just the way the game is. Like this game, they made it tougher on the stamina, which I'm pretty sure they did. But the thing of it is, I can get more hits now for some reason after the patch. Not necessarily more home runs. I mean, it almost seems slightly arcadish, not really arcadish because there's not a lot of home runs and stolen bases, but it's like I'm always constantly connecting. I don't really strike out like I used to. I'm constantly getting on base or getting RBIs, and we're running the score up. Now, even though we went 10 games, 10-game winning streak, we're not necessarily scoring a hell of a lot of runs in every game, but we're getting a lot of base runners. Let's take a look at some of these box, a few of the box scores. You can see we had 6 hits in that game. I'm just looking at some of the statistics because I didn't really notice that it was after the patch until I paid attention. Right here we had 11 hits. I mean, ever since that patch, man, we've just been hitting the ball all over the yard. I mean, it's crazy, but the truth is, look at that. We had 12 hits in that game. Our opponents are hitting the ball all over the yard too, and not necessarily hits, but they're just connecting. Sometimes they pop fly out, but the point is they're connecting, and we're not really striking them out like we used to. Strikeouts are occasional now. I don't really strike out anymore. I'm sure I have struck out, but not very much. But for some reason, it's like easier to win now. I'm not disappointed with that. I'm sure we're going to eventually go on a landslide and start losing a few games, but I just can't believe I got 3 consecutive sweeps. I've never done that. Initially coming in, I figured this game was harder than 21, but now after this 10-game winning streak, it's like, it's a fun winning streak. I'm not ready to say, oh, the game is easy, because look, some of these games were not easy. Like, we just had to close them out 3-2. 4-2. Some of these games we had to kind of come back late. So I used to not be able to come back. In MLB The Show 21, I could not come back from behind late. If I was trailing by 2 runs or so and it was the 7th inning, I lost that game. I would try, but I just never could rally back. In this game, after the patch, I can come back from behind. And the game is a lot more enjoyable now. And I know it's easy to say, oh, he's winning all of his games, so now he's saying it's more enjoyable. I mean, I can enjoy a game even without winning. Like, if we just have a tight game where I'm getting good hits, they're getting good hits, we go back and forth. It's not enjoyable if I can't do anything. Like, the opponent is just absolutely dominating me, just tearing me apart, and I can't seem to connect or nothing. Yeah, that's not going to be enjoyable. But, we'll see what happens in this series here. We just swept them already. Can we get 4 consecutive sweeps? We'll see. But anyway, that's this video. After that patch, the game has just. I play on dynamic difficulty where where it just adjusts the difficulty on its own. Like if I'm doing well, it'll increase the difficulty. If I'm struggling, it'll decrease it. So that's what I play on. I've always played on that, even in MLB The Show 21. But anyway, that's this video. Tell me if you notice anything about any of the patches that are kind of changed in the game. If you do, just leave a comment below.